our terrorism and security expert. Today I will give the times out because I think it's important. It's just 4:30, by the way. This incident happened about an hour and a half ago. Tommy Robinson, another one of our friends of the programme, he was down in Westminster today. He's I'm not sure if he's a fully fledged eyewitness, but he can certainly tell us what he's experienced. Tommy joins us now. Hi, Tommy.
Hi, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, very well. What were you doing down there, Tommy? And what did you see, my friend?
So I was down making a video for Rebel Media about Islam, funny enough. And so I was literally just 2 minutes from Westminster when obviously everyone started hearing there's gunshots. And then I went round the corner. By the time I was outside, the police had the whole place locked down. But I see young girls. There's some young girl, like probably 14, 15. She was laying there all in shock with a blanket over her, everyone trying to keep her warm.
Sure.
And then, I don't know how, I just lost the head with the media there. Because I'm watching it all on Fathom, and then the first thing a journalist come up and ask me is, should we be fearful of far-right attacks? I lost the head. I don't know if that's because that's what he wanted me to do, but I lost the head. So I don't know if they're going to have some video footage of me just looking like an absolute maniac, screaming my head off.
You were angry because it's pretty obvious who it is?
I'm angry because of what's just happened. We can't act surprised by this. Yeah, it's a joke. The people acting like, oh my God, look what's happened. We've just been waiting for this to happen every day. There was 4 attacks last week alone in France. There was 12 planned terror attacks in the last 12 months in the UK. If they would have been successful, we'd have seen shopping centres, we'd have seen aeroplanes, we'd have seen nightclubs, we'd have seen a war zone. Then people might realise we're in a war. And I get angry and frustrated because I still see our politicians. I expect to see them all on the news telling us it's got nothing to do with Islam, telling us about it. Just frustrates me. It really frustrates me because there's so much we could be doing.
I understand your frustration fully, Tommy, and I share a lot of your frustration. But at this time, although we know, there's eyewitness reported it was an Asian fella, we don't yet whether he's a Muslim. We don't yet know if it is a terrorist attack by people supporting Al Qaeda or Islamic State or whatever they're calling themselves this week, do we? No. To be fair, but by the same token, we don't know it's a far right white extremist either. Go on.
No, to be fair, but the tactics used. There's a magazine that Al Qaeda do, which is called Inspire, yeah, and in there it gives them the tactics to use for terrorism in the UK. Now, in there, which it told them to get 4x4s and run people down. Yeah? 50,000 Muslims in the UK downloaded that magazine. 50,000, not 10, 20, 30, 40, not a few hundred. 50,000 times that's been downloaded in our country. A terrorist magazine for Al Qaeda has been downloaded in our country 50,000 times. Now, that's when we need to start realising just how big this problem is we face. And stop pretending and stop caring about people's feelings. I don't care if people get offended with what I say. I really don't care. And then the same with I said to these journalists, the biggest threat we face is what you've just witnessed. The biggest threat we face is Islam, and they start saying that's not the biggest threat. Well, you tell that to the family. They're just finding out that their loved one who's gone to work today has been run over by a car just because of a religious belief.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point. Now, just before I let you go, tell me, do you think this will be the wake-up call if it does turn out to be a jihadist? No. Will this be the wake-up call so at last the politicians take it more seriously? What do you think?
No, not a chance. Not a chance. So that's the reality as well. The reality is we're going to have to see tens of thousands dead before they do something. That's unfortunately where I think we're at. If one of our soldiers being beheaded, when Lee Rigby was beheaded, David Cameron set up a 5-year government task force to fight against his jihadists. You know that we've had 450 Muslims who have gone to fight for ISIS. They've trained, they've killed, they've raped. Yeah. They're back. They're walking our streets now. Now, that's not tough. Theresa May's not being tough. Our government aren't being tough. Our security services aren't being tough. They still being turned. They still be deployed, but they're not.
When you say they should be deported, you mean the 450 jihadists who have been out of the country?
Jihadists, yeah.
So what's the reason for them being soft, as you describe it, do you think, towards these people?
There can be no logical, because it's not like the Conservative government pander to the Muslim community for votes. They don't need their votes. No Muslims vote for them. So it's just an all-round weakness. It just shows the power of political correctness. And I know that sounds insane to say. I know it sounds so insane, but when we've seen the rapes in Rotherham, we've seen all these different things which have been allowed to happen. We see female genital mutilation. This is just another attack to that. It's just another thing where we have no leadership, no strength. Anytime we see a strong world leader like Donald Trump Look at the harassment and persecution he's faced because of trying to put the safety of Americans first.
Okay.
Look at what he's facing. So then all the politicians here are terrified as well. Everyone is.
Okay, before you go, and at the risk of you losing the head with me, if it turns out to be a jihadist, do you think there could be a right wing or even a working class, shall we describe it, a reaction? Because as far as I can see, there hasn't really been much reaction so far. I mean, but obviously the press and a lot of MPs always believe that's going to happen. You ran the EDL. You tell me what you think.
I think there's a false narrative, but I also, at some point in the future, yes, that's a reality. The reality is this is going to happen time and time again. It's going to become more commonplace, not just in the UK, but across Europe. And at some point, of course, there'll be a reaction. Of course, but do I think we now need to be bending over ourselves backwards to worry about a reaction from ordinary British people? No, British people tolerate a lot. Look how much we tolerated. We tolerated the rape of our country for the last 20 years by invading ideology. So, no, I don't think we need to worry too much about that. But at some point in the future, yes, of course, that will happen. We never need to get that far. But so long as people see no inevitable solution by the security services or by the government, and they see this continued, and not just continued, but they continually add to the problem. I'm standing in London now, and Saudi Arabia are funding many Islamic schools in our capital. How mad is that? How insane is that? Just little basic things that the government needs to do. It's just insanity. It's insanity. And then they'll scratch their heads as to why we've got these problems.
Thank you for joining us, Tommy. Stay safe, because we're just getting told the police are saying a suspicious package has been found in the car at the scene and the bomb squad are in attendance. Tommy Robinson, thank you for joining us at such short notice. He was down in Westminster filming a video. A lot of you knew he was there. You got in touch with him, and we were the first people to have him on air.
You didn't, frankly, have the balls to put country before party.